like techs that I've mentored. And on the first day of their training, I would say to them, I want you to know more than I do, and I want you to be better than I am.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Megan and Steve here with Hustling for Excellence. If you are new to our channel, please be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell below so that you're notified when we post great content like today's interview with Jonathan Ploransky. Jonathan has a great brand, Mechanics of Money.
Love it.
Absolutely. Great play on words there. Jonathan is actually a Master Certified Mercedes Benz technician and has been working in the field for 11 years. Jonathan, do you want to give us some more background?
Yeah, so I've been with Mercedes Benz for about 11 years. And basically over that time, it's been a little bit of a challenge, and I've went through some development along the way. And it's always been a little bit of a struggle to, I felt undervalued in what I've been doing. And in recent years, I've researched opening my own business in the automotive industry as an independent shop. And I started really crunching numbers, and basically it didn't make sense. And I started researching where the industry is really headed, and these electric cars that are coming, and the different models that Tesla and Revvion and these big manufacturers are starting to move into. And what I started to find out is the industry as a whole is just not moving in a good direction. So I kind of pivoted my career a little bit into this digital marketing aspect, and I've really started to catch some traction in it. It doesn't have as much overhead. And basically by starting these social media platforms and leveraging those, I'm able to begin to accelerate some capital and start a business online. So.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, just thinking about that, the whole digital marketing, what else is it about it that kind of turns you on? I mean, as far as you've been doing the mechanics for 11 years, I know that's got to be tough on you. I hear it's, I'm not a mechanic. I'm the guy who just kind of takes my car to you guys and
figure out what's wrong.
I can do a few things, but that's it. And I just, that's tough. I think about my back, leaning over and fixing stuff all day. It's that's got to be tough on the body. I mean, so kind of what else has kind of prompted you towards that? I mean, I know you said the industry piece, but is there anything else that's kind of pushed you over that way?
Yeah. So as a kid, I grew up on a farm, and my father actually started a fence business, and he was an entrepreneur, but he was always an employee of the business. He never ran the business. So Gotcha. In that time, he always had to provide for us kids, and he really beat up his body. And right now he's 65 years old almost, and his arm he can barely move his arm, and he has a foot that's broken up because he was an iron worker, and there's some injuries along the way there. And yeah, Steve, I mean, I started in this business when I was 20 years old, and I'm 34 now, and I have tendonitis in my right arm, and things are starting to break down a little bit, and I'm starting to see these trends, and I'm going to be in this business for the next 30 years of my life. And I'm starting to think do I want all this high stress from the dealership environment? And do I want to continue down this path of beating my arms up and my legs? And again, back to where is the industry going with all this high voltage radiation stuff? That's all opens my mind, and I'm starting to really think about where I'm going with my life, And that kind of segues into the messaging that I'm trying to push on to the Facebook group that I'm starting and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to bring awareness to that whole, the electric car aspect of it, and really help these guys think about multiple sources of income and leveraging the digital marketing that we're speaking about here and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's a great message. I mean, what you just said there, you said the voltage of the cars. I mean, I'm not even.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know that there's the electric and there's volts and that, but I didn't think about it from that perspective, the radiation and different things. So, again, you kind of get in the car, you drive, and it works, and you're good. But the behind the scenes stuff, hey, don't think about that sometimes. But that's a great point. And what you're trying to do, I think that's amazing, because we just seen that so many times where you work in an industry for life. I mean, it could be whatever, mechanics, or like you mentioned, your dad being an iron worker. I think of, the nursing industry, just doing the same repetitive motion, and then you finally get a chance to retire, but you can't do anything because you're so beat up. I mean, whether it's, like you, tendonitis or back problems or neck problems or shoulder issues, it's just like, as soon as you retire, next thing you know, you're in surgery for something. So I think it's very wise of you to kind of start to look for other avenues of income. So, and, very noble of you to kind of put it out there to all your friends and people that are in your industry, right? Because you understand that. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Bring that message, all these other messages that we don't understand. Because, now you get a chance to talk to more mechanics out there and say, hey, because you're speaking their language now, right? So it's like they know about those dealerships, and, again, all the stresses of, hey, you got to get that car out in so many hours. And, oh, hey, as soon as you're done with that, here's your next ticket for the next car that's sitting there. And I mean, imagine that's, you come in and they probably have as many hours as you want to work, right? It's, and so, yeah, that's got to be tough. So tell us more about the message of the mechanics of money and what you're trying. What is the audience? Is it just mechanics, or is it, and are you trying to help them just move to digital marketing? Kind of expand on that a little so we can kind of, feel that out.
Yeah. So basically the mechanics of money is, mechanics that are trying to make more money or get themselves to a place where they can have multiple streams of income and build their legacy for their families in the years to come. Another thing that I've really found is over my 11 years of training with Mercedes Benz, I've been through hundreds of hours worth of training rather. And never once was I ever taught about goal setting or personal development or starting my own business. And that's pretty going into these other Facebook groups. I'm watching these podcasts on YouTube, and they have a lot of great content and stuff like that, but they don't focus on any structure of the business really, and giving their people inside the business like goal and oriented things to work to better their lives. Since I began this journey and started focusing on personal development myself, I've actually been able to put myself in a position at my dealership where I've moved into more of a managerial role. And now I'm developing these structured plans within the dealership to help the employees, and it's leading to a lot better environment. And I mean, it doesn't have to be all about money. When you build value in your employees, you're able to actually make a better environment, and the whole, like, all the ships rise, you know what I mean? Yep. So kind of just bringing awareness to that whole thing. And it has been a little bit of a struggle, to be honest with you, Steve, because I think a lot of the online digital marketing gurus will say, quote unquote, have like a bad rep. So when I'm going into a Facebook group and they're, we're talking about diagnosis and things like that. And then when I bring in a video on like how to start a business or think about personal goal setting or, time management skills, it's just a pretty big disconnect. So I'm trying to, find that bridge where I can not come off like a guru, quote unquote, but really like get these guys' mindset to change into multiple levels of income and personal development and goal setting, and really kind of just be coachable. It is tough because some people just don't want to be coached. And, a traditional college or structured education, they offer, business courses along the way, where automotive industry, like I said, we just have like technical development skills. It's not anything to do with personal development, goal setting, or even business skills at all, like zero. So yeah, that's a lot of the awareness that I'm trying to bring to the table as well.
It's funny that you mentioned college and business courses, because Steve and I both have, bachelor's degrees in business, and he's got a master's in business, and they don't even teach those things. You would think you would come out of there with 4 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever, of knowledge that here's the basics of how to start a business. And it's not, it's the same thing. Here's how to be a good employee.
Yeah.
of a business.
Right.
And
That's they really want you to kind of training you to work in the corporate world. Sure, maybe at a higher level someday, but yeah, if you truly want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, of starting a business, yeah, there's not a lot of talk of that. It's more the theory. Actually starting our business is when you really learn, right? The struggles of kind of the paperwork that has to get submitted with the state or the government, or, forming all those little things that just kind of get, oh yeah, you'll just go ahead and get that done. It's like, well, there's something to all that. And yeah, I agree with you. And you said some good stuff there. So you see me writing, I'm listening. You mentioned, having that impact and value, but I like the part, when you go into a group and not being the guru. And that's something that, people are like, oh yeah, okay, you're this expert. Like, listen, this is just kind of my experience. And I know I'm just coming from a place of, I don't want you to make the same mistakes. It's like, we know there's more out there. You could do something different if you want. So that was interesting. Cause yeah, I feel that way sometimes as well. Right. Like, oh, you went to this seminar or you started this business. So now it's like, no, we're always learning, right? We're always trying to grow and learn. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And one last thing, I know Meg wants to say something, but coaching, right? I always have to relate this. Okay. I always have to relate this. Like, why is it in every other field, people want the best coach, right? When it was basketball, people wanted to, get coached by Phil Jackson or this person, or if it's football, you want to work with this coach, or if you're a singer, you go to Nashville and work with the best country music. But when it comes to your life, oh, I don't need a coach. I'm good. But every other area of your life, you want a coach, right? It's like, I think we're starting to see that dynamic change a little, and you're starting to see some folks that realize like, hey, I am not, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm doing pretty good, but I could get to that next level. So yeah, we kind of see that, but it's also nice to run in circles where people appreciate a good coach as well. So
yeah. So we know that you are working with a coach, correct?
Yep.
How has that process been?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. So when I started on this journey, I really, was in a weird place personally, and I was struggling, and I was really trying to find a fix, I guess you'd say, for what I thought was like a business or like a work solution, but it was really like a really deep personal evaluation of myself. And that's probably something I want to talk about, because it's pretty amazing. I was watching YouTube one day. I think it was some type of car repair thing probably, or I'm also a semi-pro cyclist, so it was maybe a cycling video or something. And I saw the ad come across the screen for Entre Institute, and it just really ripped me into the screen and pulled me in. And everything that, Jeff said was really what I needed. It was personal development and, the 3 Ps and goal setting. And, I was like, all right, well, I'm not ever really into this, like, advertising stuff, and I never really take advantage of it. Why don't I just try it? Like, how much is it, type of thing. And that's one thing I'm really trying to bring into the group that I've started as well, because most of these personal development books, and like by Russell Brunson and, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, you can get these books for free or very, very low, entry cost. And, even if you take advantage of it and you get into it a month and you're like, this isn't for me, at least it gives you an opportunity to expand your brain and, think of it a little bit different than you did before, because, millionaires think differently, as we know, right, guys? I mean,
absolutely.
And it's always good to have a different perspective in your life, so yeah, that's been my experience, and having a coach really keeps me structured and moving forward in the direction, and gives me, answer to those little questions that you can write down during the week and you're just like scratching your head with. And, something that would maybe bog you down for a month now only becomes a week long problem. You know what I mean? And
right.
Just all the support we have. I don't know about you guys, but it's really amazing to have multiple different mentors and perspectives, I guess would be the right word, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's huge. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've never been one for a lot of support, kind of try to go it alone. But I've kind of over the years realized like that's not possible if I want to get to the places that we want to get to. So, and I think this community that, at the Entre community, especially, I mean, the support's amazing at so many levels. I mean, even the technical support, right? We have the technical office hours you can reach out to. I mean, and every level, I mean, the support is just better and better, and it's great. I mean, gosh, yeah. And to your point, you probably want to touch on it, the mindset piece. I'll let you handle that.
Oh, that's okay. I actually was going to go back for a second. Because it's funny, you mentioned that, you caught the ad in a YouTube video and you ended up like watching it, and we interviewed someone else who said the exact same thing. He's like, I skip right past the ad as soon as I can. He goes, but for whatever reason, he goes,
yeah,
I stuck around for the whole thing. And I think it's funny because exactly what you said, the message is not the typical, here's how to start a business and make a whole bunch of money. That's not it. It's about, here's how to change your entire life.
Yeah.
How, and to that aspect, what other changes have you seen, not just in the business, but in the rest of your life?
So I've always been really good physically with the whole cycling thing, which actually has been a little bit of a struggle lately, which is interesting because that's always been like my milestone, easy, low hanging fruit, I guess you'd say. But just everything, I can't even get into it. Just like my whole mindset is completely different now. It's unbelievable. The goal setting thing really, really hit home with me. And like right now I have my morning routine where I have everything written and like basically down to like 15 to half an hour intervals and like very structured. Because Megan and Steve, as you guys know, I mean, I'm a part-time entrepreneur and starting all this on like very limited time. So you need to have everything really laid out, and you can't be watching Netflix and, you know, just on social media aimlessly, going down the news feed and stuff. And if you are, you're studying that content, which, okay. Yeah. So I started going down this journey with social media, and I never really saw it as a tool like I do now. I was thinking it was like the worst thing out there, and Big Brother's watching, and basically didn't want anything to do with it at all. But now that I see it as a tool, it's amazing the amount of people that you can touch and impact with one post. And with multiple different platforms behind you, it's like you're the giant person. And before I got into this, I feel like that was a major problem in my life, because I got to a point where I could only help so many people, and I wanted to help more people because basically, unlike you, Megan and Steve, I don't have children, and I've always kind of thought of the employees that I work with as my children. It's kind of weird, but
I understand.
I always wanted to like make them better. And I've had multiple like techs that I've mentored, and on the first day of their training, I would say to them, I want you to know more than I do, and I want you to be better than I am. Yeah. And I don't know if I'll ever have kids, but maybe I will. But that's part of the group too. I want to make sure everyone's set up the right way. And if I can, impact 10 people, that's more valuable than any money that you could ever get.
So much wisdom in everything you just said that I don't even know what to touch on first. But definitely the idea of just providing value, to your audience, to your market, to others around you. I think that's what a lot of people don't get in this day and age, especially with that employee mindset. They're like, okay, well, I do this job and I make this much money. Well, I can never make more than that. All you have to do is provide value, and the world's going to give back to you, the congruent amount of whatever value you provide. But I love what you said about, to new employees on their first day, I want you to be better than me and to know more than me, because I think we have all seen, in the working world, that there's a lot of people that protect the information they know, and they don't want anyone to get ahead of them because they're afraid of losing their position to somebody else. And it's a really sad thing, I think.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that there are people like you out there that are saying, hey, no, I'm going to teach you everything I know, and I want you to go further than I have.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I was laughing about the part you said when you look at them as your children. It's kind of the same way, myself being in the military, that's a lot of the same way, right? Like, it's tough because, just like regular kids, they do good things and they do bad things. And you're just like, but they're your children. That was always my mindset. It was like, I want you guys to be better than I was, because you're going to be the ones carrying the torch further, right? So, but you're right. Meg's nailed it, because like so many people, though, that's not everybody's mindset. A lot of people are like, I'm not teaching you that. They may not say it directly. Some people might, but others are more almost that passive aggressive type. Well, I've been learned it over years, or, oh yeah, you don't need to know that. I'll take care of it. They'll always want to hold that knowledge. And I mean, that's frustrating, because it just doesn't do justice, like, for the whole environment in the workplace. But so go ahead.
I would say to that point too, I think that's why we're all doing what we do now, is we have gained a certain amount of knowledge, and we want to better everybody else. So we want to share it out, to whoever will listen and say, hey, here, exactly like you said, learn from my mistakes. Here's what I've learned. You take it and do better than I have.
Yeah. One other item.
I think it's like, it's almost not sincere, right? It's almost not seen as sincere, because in today's world, everyone's always out to get something from you. You know what I mean? It's not like there's free stuff many places, other than like books I mentioned and stuff like that. There's always free stuff. But I mean, by me offering my assistance in helping someone, they may think that I have alternative motives, you know what I mean? Which really isn't the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I want to touch on with what you guys are saying there, and what we're speaking on, is it's a major issue in my industry right now, because we have, all these baby boomers that are, 50, 60 years old, that are about to retire. And we have these highly sophisticated pieces of machinery that take high levels of training to fix. And it's the baby boomers. I'm not saying everyone is like this, but they're not lending a hand to the new guy that's coming in. And it's creating an issue where, maybe the right guy isn't being mentoring the right new tech coming in. And, kids today are a little bit different. We'll say that. And
absolutely. Different generation. Sure.
Yep.
And they might take a little bit different training style. And basically it leads to these kids that are trained well, I would say, or maybe not good enough. It's pushing them out the door and into a different industry altogether. And it's a very unique situation in that aspect as well. And there's like a lot of different things that are just leading to the automotive industry, like service industry, just headed downhill. And it's really frightening, and like opens my eyes. And I don't believe a lot of people are taking it serious enough, but I guess we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
And it's interesting, because this has happened time and time again in the automotive industry. It was in the 70s when the Japanese cars were introduced, right? And they just, hey, America was America, and we didn't have to worry about that. And, they came over and ate our lunch, and it took us, a decade to catch up and realize, like, hey, we need to make different types of cars. So yeah, I don't think people realize it. I mean, obviously you're you're behind the scenes, you see it, but I mean, mention Tesla, but everybody's thinking about electric cars. I mean, so it's going to be a different world for sure. But I like the part you talked about training, right? Younger generations as well, because it is, I mean, really, when you go to a workplace, I mean, I see it, you have folks from 60s, mid 60s, all the way down to coming out of college, 22. I mean, you're basically 2 generations down. So tips, training styles have changed, learning techniques have changed, the curriculum that was taught in schools changed. So yeah, it's unfortunate that, sometimes you get set in your ways and you're like, we've done it this way for the last this many years, and that's the way we're going to do it. And sometimes that really kills a workplace, because it kills that younger guy coming in. They're just excited. A lot of them, it's their first job. They're trying to learn, and but then somebody comes up. If someone not like you, who takes them under their wing and encourages them and builds them up, someone else just comes in and crushes them. It's like, oh, that guy's a jerk. I'm out of here. This place sucks, and like you said, I mean, it's kind of sets them up down the wrong path. So, I mean, like Meg said, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, no matter what industry you're in, it's always nice to have somebody that's going to look out for you, right? Like, and know that you have their best interests. You don't gain anything out of this. So, I mean, that's awesome that you're doing that. So, I had another one, but I wanted to give you a chance. He mentioned something that I is exactly the same way. Social media, right? Like, didn't really get involved with it too much, just because
I think you actually delete your account.
Deleted it at one couple, and this, and then I'm like, well, I'm in the military, I shouldn't do this, and but then I thought about it. If all the good people just delete their social media, right, then all you have is all the nonsense out there. And I was like, so just like you, I was like, you know what? The whole idea of big brothers. You know, I was like, no, if they want to find you, they're going to find you. I'm not doing anything bad. If they want to come talk to me because I'm posting about, personal development and some good growth stuff and hey, hustle, go for it. Right. I mean, I'll tell you the same thing. So, but yeah, it's just like, I think you're right. I think, once you kind of make that shift and realize like we can impact a few people, like you're impacting, maybe 10 folks at work, but your social media platform is growing and it continues to grow. You're going to impact hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows, millions. All of a sudden your message is really getting out there to the masses, which is, allowing you to, just help more people. So, a lot of things you said were just kind of like, it's like you have to go through those trials, right? Like, okay, we have to get on the social media. That's uncomfortable, but right, we do uncomfortable things. That's what we do. So, but I'll go ahead, let you take that over.
No, I was gonna say, and like you said, about the challenges, that's what we do as entrepreneurs, right? We take on the next challenge because without the challenges, we don't grow.
Yeah, so true.
Absolutely. Fail forward, like we always say, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
love that. That was one of my favorite books. Right? John Maxwell wrote a book about that, failing forward. So, but yeah, go ahead. What else you have for Jonathan?
Is there anything else that you would like, our audience or your audience, to take out of this today?
Not really. I mean, I think we've pretty much spoke on all the points that are, my personal favorites, I guess you'd say, or
Great.
least favorites, I guess. the way you want to look at it, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but I really just want to spread the knowledge of, making money online and just have a mindset explode, I guess, or something of personal development and goal setting. And the more people I can spread that message to, the better. And I'm sure you guys will give my shout outs below on
Absolutely.
pretty
We'll
much.
have that. We'll have everything, every way you can reach Jonathan posted below in the description. And I love that mindset explode.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. You're all over the place now, right? You're YouTube, Facebook. I mean, you're on all kinds of platforms. So I know your message is definitely starting to get out there. So
it's getting its reach.
Yeah. So everybody out there, we're going to obviously include everything that Jonathan's doing and how to get in touch with him. So, you have those questions, especially for all those, mechanics out there that are, starting to have those thoughts, starting to see some things, whether it's physical or mental. I mean, because you mentioned a lot of good stuff out there. So, and even folks that are outside that mechanic industry, don't forget other industries are going to be impacted, right? When these changes come. I mean, hey, it might be a guy who knows how to write computer code fixing your car soon. So that industry might, like you said, I mean, it's going to be disrupted. So, I mean, it's been awesome having you, on the show today to kind of bring that to light with your experience. So appreciate that. So anything else you want to add? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I think we've hit it all, guys.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate the opportunity to do this interview because, every little thing I can get to grow myself personally and spread the word for you guys too. I mean, you guys are doing amazing things. I always enjoy seeing your content in the group and on your channel. Also, I follow you meticulously because it's always good to have different examples. And I mean, if you guys win, I win, and if I win, you win. So that's an attitude that we all need to start to think about as well, right? I mean, it's not just you're a one-man band. Like, I know I've had problems with that in the past as well, Steve. I think you mentioned you did, but that's pretty much all I have for you guys, and I really appreciate it.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, guys, leave a comment below if you have any questions. Check Jonathan out on all of his platforms. Continue to hustle for excellence, and we'll see you on the next video.